I am Carolyn Cushing of Soul Path Sanctuary, and I am happy to welcome you to this the sixth year of Walking the Ways of the Summer Light. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about Earth, because we're in the Earth Week. And I am here with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Yaspel Fernandez of Yes Spiral, and we're going to be talking about earth and nettles.
Oh, I'm excited for that. Our nettles richness this week. Okay, so as we're starting this week with the Earth elemental connection, we're focused on that all week. And because we're connecting to the element of Earth, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that I live in the Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. And so I am standing on the traditional lands of the Nonotuck people. And I'd also like to acknowledge the neighboring indigenous nations, the Nipmuc and Wampanoag to the east, the Mohegan and Pequot to the south, and the Mohican to the west, and the Abenaki toward the north. And the word Massachusetts means place of the foothills in Wampanoag. So whenever we say our state name, we are invoking the past and presence of the Wampanoag. And because the earth supports and inspires me and has come into Walking the Ways, it seemed important to acknowledge the traditional peoples here. Would you like to add anything about where you're from, Yaspel, the land you're on?
Yeah, so I'm in Manhattan, in New York City, and it is the traditional land of the Lenape people. And I would like to acknowledge and honor them with gratitude for being here. Thank you.
So this Earth Week, this is going out to people all over the United States, and we do have some international people, so maybe you want to do a little investigating of the indigenous people indigenous to the land that you're in. Okay, so Earth, these are going to be like our weekly short videos, kind of to give an overview, and of course Yaspel is going to really guide us through creating the herbal concoctions. And so to begin, I'm going to do a little bit of a meditative piece with Earth, just a little sinking into Earth. And I'm going to give you a visual, so you don't look at me kind of closing my eyes all funny. So let's do the screen share. This is our Earth collage. The center card is from the Minoan Tarot to kind of inspire us with that. But let's have a sensual and an imaginal experience of Earth. And to begin that, I'd like to invite you may want to close your eyes. You may want to gaze softly on the image. Just kind of tune into your body that comes from the earth. Bring your attention there. Take a breath in and feel the connection to your body. You may want to drop your attention down to your feet, to the feet that are connected to the floor where you are, to the earth. Feel that connection. Feel that support coming from the earth to you. And you might imagine it's almost as if there are little tendrils, little rootlets going down from your feet, going down into the earth, traveling through the floor if you're in a house, traveling down into the soil. And those little rootlets are traveling into the soil from which the plants come. The plants like dandelion, our guide for walking the ways, and nettles, our guide for the week. There's also the roots of trees going down into the soil, deeper into the soil, searching for the other elements like water. And as you're sending your awareness down into the soil, for the plants and the trees, the earthworms are. You may also think about how the earth is the place that holds our ancestors, the beloved dead. You're letting your feet go down even deeper, deeper into solid rock, the support of the earth given to you. And then when you take your next in-breath, that energy from the earth that's connected to plants and trees and ancestors and rock and soil and earthworms starts coming up into your body, entering through your feet, traveling up your legs. Tune in to this grounding yet lively energy traveling up your body. It's coming up into your seat, base of your spine. You feel a little extra energy, a tingle there at the base of your spine. As you keep breathing, the energy is moving up your body, moving into your stomach. Maybe when the earth energy is there, it helps you to relax your stomach. And it keeps moving up through your solar plexus, that grounding yet lively earth energy. And it's coming up to your heart. You might even want to bring your hands over your heart. And as you take a breath in, and imagine and feel the earth energy rising into your heart. Feel a sense of support and warmth. Feel that connection to the physical earth, the element of earth. Know how it connects you all over to plants and creatures and other beings. Connects you to bones and rock, mushrooms, all these things that come out of the earth. Allow them into your heart and feel the connection. When you're ready, kind of let your hands float away from your heart. Maybe you kind of have them down and you start to open your eyes and you're looking at the palms of your hands that have been connected to your heart, just connected to the earth. Just kind of look at your hands and see, imagine how that earth element is right in you and how you touch it each day. And you're invited to kind of keep looking up, opening your eyes, gazing on this earth ace, taking a breath in and feeling that earth connection. And as you're kind of being with that sensual earth connection, I'll just share with you a little bit of info. This is something that comes in a daily email, so just let these words wash over you. We had that sensual meditative experience of earth. And you may also be learning some things about earth that guides us through tasks such as growth, decay, death, that become the foundation of future life. When we're in the earth realm, we're thinking about practical matters. We're thinking about the daily things that help to maintain our lives. We're thinking about the pace which we might move on the earth element as our guide. It's slow but steady. And if you want to explore using tarot, maybe you lay out all your earth cards, your pentacle cards, and look at the journey and see how it moves. Maybe during this week, you might consider what are some practices, spiritual practices, or personal practices that help you connect with earth, which might be gardening. Gardening is a spiritual practice, or dancing, yoga or Tai Chi, things that really connect you to your body, which is part of the earth. You might be called to think about serving justice by protecting and preserving land, by working against the pollution of the earth, the air, the water, by thinking about or tending to our ancestors, maybe in a graveyard, or wisdom wandering, or creating a special herbal tea or infusion made from nettles. So that's my little overview of Earth. And now I'm going to take this image down. We're going to transition to Yazbel, introducing us to ways we can experience nettles as an earth guide.
Yeah, so I have the Herb Crafters Tarot here, and the ace is nettles. And all of the aces in Herb Crafters Tarot are a weed that are commonly found in the Northeast and in other places as well. And nettle is known also as stinging nettle, and its botanical Latin name is Urtica teosea. And it says here, health and wealth may begin with a sting. Take the next step, even if it hurts. Let your gifts take root in the physical world. So when I first started learning about herbs, nettles was actually the first herb that I started to work with. And I spent the whole year with it. And one of the things that I used to do, which is something that Susan Weed talks about in her book, Healing Wise. This is like one of the books that most herbalists have read and they really love. She goes over 7 different herbs and she talks about them. Or they talk through her, because all of the chapters say like nettle speaks, or dandelion speaks, and yarrow speaks. So that's really interesting to think about. But one of the things that she talks about is to have a really strong infusion of an herb. So with nettles, like what's the difference between a tea and an infusion? So I've made the 2 here. So this over here is a tea. I like to make a strong tea, so I use tablespoons. So this is about 2 cups, and I put 2 tablespoons of nettles in here, and it's been steeping for like 20 minutes. So this is what a tea would look like. So if most people, when they make a tea, they would use 2 teaspoons, 1 for each cup, but I use 2 tablespoons. So you can see the color is brown, you can see through it. And then an infusion, the difference is that you use a lot more plant material and you would steep it for a much longer time. So I made this morning at like 9 o'clock. So you could tell it's really, really dark. I used, this is a quart and like a quart size, which is like 4 cups of water. And I put 1 cup of nettles inside here, which is about 1 ounce of herb. So when you're doing the long infusion, what you're getting is an extraction of all of the vitamins and minerals. When you do a short extraction, like a tea, that's okay when you're you don't have to do a long extraction if it's an herb that has a lot of volatile oils in it, like chamomile or mint, even like lemon balm all of those herbs have like the oils on the leaves, and just like putting it in water for 10-15 minutes is enough. You don't need to like steep it longer than that. But something that's green like nettles, in order to like get the chlorophyll out and all of the vitamins and minerals, like to take it, like I like to take it like a multivitamin, then you have to do the long infusion. And I like to pour it in a wine glass. And you can,
Very, very elegant. Yasbel's very elegant. Oh, that is dark. That's the infusion.
well, it looks like wine. I was drinking this on a call the other day in the morning, and I'm like, oh, they probably think I'm drinking wine. And if I make the tea, since this is still hot, I put it in here. It's really light.
Mm.
Yeah, and I find that nettles, I like them cold, but if some people don't like the flavor, I really like it. I like it by itself. But if you put a little bit of another herb, like even just a teaspoon, it'll completely change the flavor. So something you can add for flavor would be like a little bit of mint, or even like chamomile or rose. Sometimes I'll put rose in mine. So I mean, there are different things you can do with nettles, but I like to drink it by itself. And I really like Susan Weed Way, because it's just like a really great way to get all of the minerals and vitamins from the plant. And also, I mean, it's a lot of plant material. So sometimes I will add like a third of a cup more of nettles, and then just fill it up again with boiling water, because I like it to be really strong. But you don't even have to add more nettles to it. You could just add more water and then make a second batch. And if you could even do a third one. Sometimes when I do like the third one, then I'll use that one as a hair rinse. Yeah, and if you don't drink the whole thing and it's been in the fridge for too long, and it starts to get like, it starts going bad, you could give it to your plants. The plants like it, so you don't have to throw it out. And then you can also compost the plant material when it's done, if you have a place to do that. Yeah.
And where we were talking a little bit about that, where can people wildcraft it, or where should they get it? Where do you get your nettles?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in New York City, and I was looking for nettles and I couldn't find any around where I live. But I usually order my nettles from Mountain Rose Herbs. Sometimes I'll get it at Flower Power as well. I like to order from Mountain Rose Herbs because I like to get a pound at a time, and it's just a little bit more economical that way. Um, but if you have nettles growing near where you live, you could just harvest it. From what I understand, it's better to dry the leaves, because when the leaves are dry, um, it really breaks down the cell walls, and then it could extract, like the hot water can extract more of the vitamins and minerals than if the leaves are fresh. But drinking the like, instead of drinking it, if you can get it fresh, then you can make like pesto and things like that with it, or eat it like a stir fry. That's what I would do if I could get it fresh. And I can sometimes at the farmer's market, but like I said, I haven't seen it in New York City,
Interesting.
growing wild. Do you see it around where you live, Caroline?
I do. I think I see it a little later in the season. It's probably there now, but it's not as big. Like you can really tell that it's like, oh, that's nettles. And also, if you're harvesting it, maybe wear gloves, right? Because you can get all prickled. Is that true?
Yeah. So the first time I met Nettles, she stung me, and it was just like a little prick on my finger. I think 2 fingers, because I went to harvest because we were gonna make a pesto, and the stinging, it lasted hours. Like
Oh no.
we were harvesting at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and like 10 o'clock at night, I could still feel it throbbing.
Wow. So
But
she's got a little persistence there.
yeah, but from what I hear, the sting is very healing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do do get stung by nettles, she's working on you and helping to heal and get things moving inside.
Right.
So it's a good thing.
It's like the thorn of the rose as well, right? There's something like that. Oh, also the idea of we're ingesting, we're working with this herb, we're also learning about the tarot through the association that nettles has with the Ace of Earth. What does Joanna and Letitia say about the kind of the magical, the esoteric, that knowledge that will flow through you when you're working with nettles?
With the herb crafters,
Yeah.
so they say nettle may be a familiar weed, but it is also potent medicine. You may already have access to the resource you desire, but you may need to accept it first. Rope baskets and clothing are also made of nettle. Find stability and prosperity in fulfilling work that takes root in the physical world. Develop your skills and enjoy your creations. Receive the gifts of the earth. Build on the path of your ancestors. I mean, that kind of goes back to like what we were saying, like talking about this land of our ancestors, maybe not our own, but they're still here with us, I guess, like their spirit.
Yes. And reading that made me think, I was a little bit wisdom wandering today, and just how generous the earth is. We receive everything from the earth, our food. Well, I mean, the sun plays a role too, but everything comes through the earth. And I happened to walk by a dead squirrel, and I do my little, and I was thinking, and at the end of our lives, when we're done with the body, the earth receives us back. So, and it heals us sometimes with stinging.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of our musing for this week, and just to kind of launch people on their own musing and what you're going to connect with. And if you make the nettles tea, what might happen or come from you. So that was our little bit of our setup. And now we're just going to, our third part of these little videos will be like a little tip along the way. So we're going to move to that, unless Yasbel, do you have something to add about nettles or earth?
No, I mean, I think if you've never tried nettles, get some. If you can get it in your backyard, great. If not, go to your local like herb store and get some and try it. See what you think. It's very nutritious, and it has a lot of vitamins and minerals.
One thing though, we do want to say, you only eat things from the wild that you absolutely know is what it is, because there are some plants that are lookalikes. Nettles doesn't have so many lookalikes.
I don't think nettles has a lookalike.
And it has the thorn, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's another plant that stings like nettles does.
Yeah.
But if you don't know the plant, definitely just buy it. It's just, that's what I do. I usually just buy some plants unless I know which they are. And if I were to feel safe harvesting from there, because a lot of the places are sprayed with herbicides, which you don't want to take those in. A lot of those herbicides are carcinogens.
Right.
So definitely don't want that. And even if you like see it growing in somebody's yard, you may want to ask if they spray their lawn, because there's an obsession with having this green like monoculture lawn, and it may not be safe to eat herbs from there because the land has already been.
So trusted source.
Yes.
If you have knowledge and you know to pick things, you're the trusted source. But you don't, like, I won't go in my yard without someone that I know. I know there's some people in the area who could tell me. Just a beginner at this. But there are places you can acquire it. Check it out. Okay, but our tip for kind of thinking about something to mention, a helpful thing as you're walking the ways, we thought we'd talk just a tiny bit about journaling. And the invitation is to be wandering the whole week, as you're walking around your day a regular way, or you can have your own little special period of time to do your wisdom wander. But you're wandering. So as you're doing that, you want to capture a little bit of what's happening. And there's all kinds of ways the folks who are signed up for the e-retreat, we have what's called a journal little overview guide that lays out, it has the recipes for the herbs and lays out our schedule. And there's also the prompts for what you want to be journaling about, like, you know, who were your guides and uh, uh,
What were
what were the happenings and what are your questions? Because you want to be collecting questions as you go along. So that's something that's there for those who have signed up, can find that in the journal. And Yasbelt had some good tips on journaling and some cool things she was doing.
Yeah, so one of the things I like to journal every day. So I have like this journal. I journal in here every morning. But recently I started using this book that I've had for a while. It's just like
Like
an
a sketchbook, it looks like.
and it's a sketchbook. It's online papers, and I heard about this thing called mapping. I think it's known as mind mapping,
Mhm.
but I'm doing it with tarot. So tarot mapping. So you basically take the card and you place it in the middle of the page, and then you could write the name of the card, like the title of the card on the top, and then I put another title on top. I just use different colors because I just thought it looked prettier. And
It
then you
doesn't really have a meaning, your different colors, you're just creating some variety on the page.
yeah. So I called the top of this page "Walking the Ways of Summer Light." Hashtag Wisdom Wander. And then I put it in yellow because the flowers are yellow. So that's why I picked it. But then I couldn't like really see it. So I wrote over it with red. And then I said, this is going to be like my intention card. Um, so then I wrote from the Herb Crafter book about what this card says, which is be a guardian of wild places, build circles of women, share the medicine. And then on the right here, I just wrote like what I got from this card, like what were the messages. So for me, when I look at this card, I said that I saw an offering, mountains, flowers, sunshine. So then from those words on the bottom here, I came up with questions. So one of the questions some of the questions I wrote is, I create offerings. What are the offerings I create? Who are the flowers that are tend? What represents the sunshine in the offering? So these are questions that I'm going to carry with me as we go along during this walking the ways. And then when it comes time to go on the pilgrimage, I'm going to choose one of the questions. But the idea is to keep a journal so that to remember like which were all of the questions, and then once the time comes, then you can choose one or two that you really want to like find the answer to.
Nice. You have a very beautiful journal. I take a little one walking with me,
Okay.
and that fits. I have, you know, it holds the tarot cards in the back about the right size. And sometimes mine is not as beautiful. Mine's kind of boring compared, but I have bigger journals as well. It's nice to have multiple journals, but I just kind of write down what happened. And you had mentioned this too. I bring my phone, I put it on airplane mode,
Mm,
and I take pictures as I go along because I'm kind of documenting what I see, but it also does serve then as like a visual journal.
exactly. So that's what I do. I don't take a journal with me. I've just been like writing on my phone. So I have my phone here. This is my Instagram feed. So I just like post the pictures. So
Mm.
I posted my way showers for Earth, and then I'll just write what my questions were. I'll share what they were, and then I could use that as my journal. But I like the idea of um, using the page that we gave, because you could print out four of them, and then just have those 4 pages. And when it's time for the pilgrimage, to see what the insights were. There's one more question that you didn't mention. Is new or affirmed wisdom gained from encounter?
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
you had that a little bit in your journaling. It's like, you know, we are taking something from the book or something we already knew, but then you're adding
Exactly.
something that, oh, it's an insight. Yeah. And because an important thing, or to keep talking about this, is this is a way to introduce you to nature or introduce you to tarot, but to really to find your own understanding from within. Like reading from a book, I love books and being inspired by books, but then the way we really kind of integrate these into us as we start to have our own experience, and then it becomes part of us. Like the Ace of Earth will become part of us, so the Earth suit will have that knowledge in our bones because we've been walking around with it.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I really like about walking the ways, is connecting to each of the elements for a week. Because I feel like just thinking about Earth for a whole week helps ground me into Earth. And then once we move on to the next element, then I'll just start focusing on that and thinking about what it really means to me. And then it's actually really helpful when doing readings as well, because I already have like this understanding of Earth. And now we're going to have like, you know, like an internal type of understanding, since we're going to be drinking.
Right. It will be right inside of us.
Exactly. So I really like that idea. That's one of the reasons why I have done it multiple times, because I want to connect with the elements more. I think being connected with the elements just helps.
I think maybe that should be our last word for these little short videos to kind of just support people walking the ways. And if you're watching this and you're not signed up yet, because we're going to share this around as a gift, go to soulpathsanctuary.com and you can sign up. We have some different levels because we wanted to make this available to all kinds of people. You know, like if you're impacted by COVID-19, there's a $17 level, or kind of the middle way is $47, or you want to help sustainability for these programs to happen, $97. But visit soulpathsanctuary.com and check it out. And it was great exploring Earth with you, Yasbelt. I'm excited to try some nettles soon.
Yeah,
So,
try nettles infusion as opposed to tea.
All right, I'll go full strength.
Yeah.
All right, we'll say goodbye until next week.